Hi, Professor Dan Guillemette here from the Evolution BJJ Association here with James. We're here to film some excerpts of Volume 2 of the Kimura system for Evolution BJJ University. Today we're going to be focusing on top half guard and bottom half guard. So the two systems connect to each other. So I strongly suggest that you take the time to learn Volume 1 before attempting to learn Volume 2. The Volume 1 is worst case scenarios, so whenever somebody manages to counter any of the other volumes, we'll likely end up in Volume 1. So it's the most important one to learn. It's when things go wrong, it's the options you have. Okay, so we're going to start on Volume 2. Volume 2, all of the volumes connect to each other. The problem is there's so many different techniques. If you don't take the time to learn them set by set, it's just overwhelming, and anything that's overwhelming isn't fun. According to the professor of flow, I think it's Dr. Mihail Vocech, so I can't pronounce his name, he was basically saying that the level of difficulty has to be hard enough that it keeps you focused, but not so hard that you get discouraged. If you try and learn everything at the same time, you'll get discouraged. If you go volume by volume, you'll learn it really quickly, and it'll be challenging enough that you'll be completely focused. So when I'm in here like this, he manages to get the underhook because I let him. So at this point, I can prevent him from coming up. Try and come up. So with my weight, I can prevent him from coming up. But to go to the technique that I want to do, I want him to be able to come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up into Spider-Man. So all I'm doing, watch out, all I'm doing for Spider-Man is I'm just coming up like this. So I'm getting my hips higher than my shoulders. So as we're here like this, he's trying to come up, he can't, so I can take my time to do this. When I'm ready, I'm coming up like this. Now from here, there's a hole in this space. I don't have to grab the Kimura, I just have to dive my hand through the hole. As I dive my hand through the hole, I do a shoulder roll, and from the shoulder roll, from there, I'll grab the Kimura. And this is where it'll continue to attach. If he tries to escape, to go to his knees, keep going. I'll bring myself up, I can take him down, go to the back, go back on your side. Kimura trap. If I don't want him to get up, try and get up. He can't, try and go the other way. He can't, what would you do?
I would not bridge.
Just do what you would do, and yes, you would bridge because that's what you always do. And then we go here. And then, so we fall back into Volume 1. So everything is going to be interconnected. Please take the time to learn one before moving to the next. Okay, so when I'm in top half guard, usually what ends up happening is the person in the bottom is fighting for the underhook. So from here, it's very hard for me to get the underhook because he's on his side. If he's here like this, I can use gravity to push my arm through or my elbow through to be able to come in and get it. If he's on his side, I don't have the angle to get a push. I can't get in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him get his underhook in, but as he gets it in, I'm going to kind of turn my body and pinch my elbow. So he's coming in, but it's not coming in deep. So go in for your underhook. So it's coming in, but it's not coming in very deep. Now as I turn my body, I'm going to drop my armpit on his elbow. I'm going to bring my knee underneath, and I'm pulling his leg so that I'm pinning his leg to my other leg. So this should be a little bit uncomfortable. Because of this position, I have easy access to his wrist, so I'm able to come up and grab a Kimura. Now he'll likely continue to hold half guard. Hold half guard. Really hold my leg properly? Okay, good. Because I have this, I have base. So I can shift all my weight to this side without him being able to roll me because I'm using his own hand as base about 1.5 feet away from his body. So now I can lift my hip and insert my knee. And now that my knee is in, keep holding my leg, I can push, pull to get my leg out. And if I want to go back to Kimura trap, I'm just going to do a shoulder roll over his head and walk back underneath. And then we can go back to the techniques in Volume 1. Okay, so same as the last position, he starts going for his underhook. I try and catch his arm. I'm going to try and drop my armpit on this. As I turn, I'm lifting his leg and bringing my other leg underneath, making it really easy. Try and get your arm deeper. Making it really, really easy to come and grab this. Now from here, I've got a couple of different options. Let's assume that I want to finish from top half guard. So one of the first things I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to bring my, okay. So if you come and take a look over here, Santi. So if you see where my body is, my knee is out here. I need to get all my weight on that side of my knee to sit up. It would be very, very difficult for me to sit up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring my knee as close to his head as I can. And then I'm going to use my hand to kind of push and sit on my ankle. Keep holding my leg, please. Sit and hold on my ankle. Now from here, I can easily come and just do the finish on the Kimura. So again, I'm here like this. I'm bringing my leg out and my knee beside his head. So this is as close that I can go this way because his head is in the way. So the closer it is, the easier it's going to be for me to sit back. I'm sitting on my ankle. So I'm in here, I'm pushing, I'm sitting on my ankle, and then from here I would use my whole body to slowly apply it. Entrance is the same. We're in here like this, and I come in. So one of the other things that could be happening here is I could be going to try and pass the guard. One of the ways that I can pass the guard from here, because sometimes he's a little too far in, I was slow, and I can't really get to the arm. So if I get to the point where I can't get to the arm, I got to work on something else. So what I'm essentially trying to do is I'm trying to pull, by switching here, I'm pulling his leg close to me. I'm bringing this in, keeping my elbow as close to my body as I can. So I'm creating a push pressure here. My push pressure isn't overly strong from here, so I can't just push to break this grip. But what I want to do is I want to do a push-pull. So as I'm pushing to hold his leg in place, I'm going to try and kick to break the grip. So basically kicking to open it up, and then I'm able to come over. The closer I am to my body, the stronger I'm going to be with this position. The further I am from my body, the harder it's going to be. So keep it close. So I have my head here. I'll bring my knee up nice and close. Push, pull. Bring it up and over. Now after I've passed his guard a few times this way, he's going to realize he doesn't want this to happen, and my wrist is within reach. So he grabs my wrist. I wrap his arm. I come up around. We're in position to do this. Now we'll go to the next one. So say I get to the knee beside the head, and I'm trying to come up, but I'm not able to come up. So what I'll do is I'll put my head on the ground. I'll bring my leg around his head, and then I'll push to start coming up from here, and then I'll finish. It should be a little easier because instead of having my knee here, my knee is further under my body weight. All right, so follow up to the last two techniques. So regardless of whether I get it off the guard pass or he tries to get the underhook, if I got the block in time, I come in, I manage to get the arm, I bring the leg over the head. Now for one reason or another, I'm not able to sit up, whether it be because my back is sore or just he's giving me enough pressure that I'm having a hard time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a shoulder roll over my shoulder that's closest to his feet. When I do that shoulder roll, my leg is going to lift his head, allowing me to come and finish. He's usually holding on to my leg nonstop, and then I can finish either here, come back, no, just roll onto your back, or I can just lift enough to get the finish here. I prefer finishing here when I can, because this is a position that's really hard for him to fight. Here, if he lets go, he may be able to step over and maybe start a fight, and then we have to go to something else. So I prefer finishing here if possible. If he comes up with you, then you'll end up having to finish here. So it'll depend on the situation. Okay, so again, we're in the bottom position, just like we were when we were in side control. I don't want him to be able to flatten me out. So if I stay here, he can probably flatten me out. So when I'm here on the side, he tries to flatten me out. I'm turning this shoulder a little further back than this one. And as he tries to grab my head, I'm going to slide my elbow to his wrist. So it doesn't matter how strong he is. This is a frame from my shoulder to here. If I'm here, it's just arm strength, and he might be able to start flattening me out. So not only am I sliding here, but I'm also grabbing on, trying to pull your arm away. So I'm trying to stay connected to, I don't have to beat him with speed. I'm staying connected. When I'm ready to go for the Kimura, I come up and come around. So we're going to start with a finish from here. So he hides his arm and he keeps his hand in pretty strong. Keep your arm in strong. Good. So what I'm going to end up doing now is I'm going to shrimp, and I'm going to try and get my back knee all the way through to his hip. So I shrimp, I get my back knee, keep your hand in there, try and defend. No height, like grab your leg, that's it. So what I want to do here is I don't want to have my back rounded, because if my back is rounded, I'm forcing with my lower back. So I'm getting my back straight. Hold on to your leg good and strong. And then essentially all I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my bottom leg, or like this leg, to push my whole body back while keeping him where he is. So it pulls his arm out. I can maintain this pressure for the finish, or I could slide the leg through for the finish, whichever one you prefer. So again, the key note here is when he's in here, grab your leg if you want, okay? Is to slide the knee all the way through, get your back straight, and bring your whole body back, and then you can finish. And my hook is still here, so that when I finish, I'm keeping him where he is, but I've also got a hook on his other hip. Okay, so we're back in half guard. So he's trying to control my head. Exactly, so I managed to come in, he hides his arm. If he doesn't hide his arm, I go right for the finish. So in this case, it was after Christmas. James put on a lot of weight. His abdomen is a little bit more generous than usual. With the generous abdomen, I can't get my knee through because there's an obstacle in the way. So if I can't get the knee all the way to this hip, I need to push on this side to be able to pull this arm out. So what I'm going to do is if I can't get all the way through, I'll just bring this knee to the first hip. So this hip won't give me the power I need to come forward because this can still follow. Does that make sense? So when we're here like this, what I'm going to end up doing instead is I'm going to put my foot, the foot that's over his leg, I'm going to put it on the ground. And then what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to use the foot that's on the ground to bring my shoulder to the ground. But when I bring my shoulder to the ground, I'm bringing him with me. And as my knee that's on his hip starts pointing towards the ceiling, it's going to pick up all of his weight. Now he may frame on his head if you come over to this side. Now I have enough power to push him through, but the problem is if I throw him over his head, if he's on his forehead, go on the top of your head, James. If I throw him over and he's on his forehead, I could really damage his neck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick and make him land here. And then I'll just walk into Kimura trap. So we're in here again. So try and grab my head. So I managed to grab the Kimura again, no más. So I managed to get my knee inside. What's stopping him from passing my guard right now is this leg that's on his back leg. As soon as I take that leg off, he can pass my half guard. To do the next sweep, I need to put this foot on the ground. So I put this foot on the ground, he starts to pass. Now we're back into the same position we were in previously. If he comes in to do a step around armbar, I can just wait for the timing. As he starts going over, then I would just change the angle of my body, go back up. Just want to show a really important detail here. If I'm too late and the foot gets to the floor, okay, good. I can't turn him in this direction anymore. He has base here, but where he doesn't have base is over here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hip towards his other knee and then roll him over his shoulder. So I don't want to be forcing against the base. I can't change the angle of his body, but I change the angle of my body and I roll him over his own shoulder where he has no base. So same thing, I come up and as soon as I go for this, he goes and hides his arm. So I get my knee inside, I put the foot here. He passes my guard. Now a few things are going to happen here. If I've swept him on that position before, he may stay low. From this position, I don't have the, no, I mean just back there. I don't have the ability to take him over from here. Generally, he has to be parallel. So if he's not coming parallel to me, then I'll come parallel to him. I need enough space to get my head inside the hole. So assuming his knee is a little closer to my head, that's it. That I really don't have this space. I have a longer upper body, so I need to create a little bit more space than most people. His hand right now is behind my hip. So just like we did in volume 1, my hip lifts up, I back my hip up, I swing my legs to this side, taking him over, and then again I have access to his back. So I'm in this position. For whatever it is, I've been rolling with the guy, and every time I go to do the sweep where I drop my leg, he passes the guard. Let's assume that we're fighting. He's trying to get his hips back to keep his weight away from me, stopping me from being able to bring him on. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to shrimp to get my hip back and insert a butterfly hook. So I'm inserting the hook and pulling him onto the hook. So now from here that I have the butterfly hook, I'm going to use the other foot to try and get under. Keep hiding your arm, or otherwise I'll just do the finish. Okay, so if his arm is hidden, I can't finish him. But if his arm is in, protecting his arm, I can move his body around. So as I'm doing a reverse shrimp to come under him, I'm doing a lift with my leg and my hand, and I'm taking him up and over, and we're back into Kimura trap where we can do all the other techniques.